Hi, hello, everybody. I hope everyone's doing well today. This is Laura. Maybe you all know me, maybe you don't. Really excited for our conversation today. This is our third industry sessions, and I'm especially excited for this one because we are going to talk about TikTok and social media and marketing. And I'm really psyched for our guest. He's pretty much a digital marketing guru. So I see you there in the comments, Anthony. I'm gonna invite Anthony Pacheco up on stage. So just give us a second. We'll also wait for everybody to join in. Hey, Andrew. All right. So one second. There he is, coming up on screen. Okay. Well, feel free in the meantime, whoever's here. Oh, there he is. Hey, Anthony. Good. Got a little bit of an echo. Try again, though.
How about now? Can you hear me better?
Yeah, that sounds good. How is it, everybody? Can everybody hear Anthony well? How are we doing today? Why don't you guys? I see there's quite a few people here. Drop some locations. Where are you guys all tuning in from? Drop some comments in the chat. Okay, Anthony, you're coming to us from LA, right?
LA time, but I'm actually in Modesto, California, which is closer to like the San Francisco Bay Area.
Okay, so. Perfect. Lovely. All right, well, over on the East Coast here. So, all right, we have so much to talk about. So, look at we got all these people from, where is that? Nashville, Brooklyn, Huntsville, Alabama. Hey, Remy, in Frosty, Vermont. All right. Tuning in from all over the place. So let's, I guess let's get right to it, right? So let me introduce everybody to Anthony Pacheco. So he's the founder of Simpl. So a really dope digital marketing agency run by musicians for musicians, which is very much along the lines of IndieFlow as well. So I like that already. Anthony with Simpl has over 10 years working with independent artists on marketing strategy, artist development, and he's a musician himself, right?
Yeah, I used to be in a rock band called Dwellings. I still write music to date, but I haven't released anything formally since 2018. So hopefully that changes as I free up more. But I recently became a dad, so
Right?
I don't think I'll have time to put out music anytime soon. But fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's something IndieFlow could help you get your music out there.
Right.
But, and also congrats. I did see on Facebook you have a beautiful baby little girl. So hope you're sleeping well.
Thanks. Yeah, I was. Past 2 days have been rough, so apologies if I sound groggy. But yeah, I'm good.
All right. Well, for those who maybe are tuning in and aren't yet IndieFlow users, IndieFlow. It's a music management tech tool, also made by musicians for musicians. So our platform allows independent artists to book gigs, manage projects, distribute their music, receive payments, and also get to sit in on incredible educational opportunities like this one right here. Ooh, I see so many nice comments. David Thomas, New York City, baby. All right. So we've got a really cool conversation planned. We've got a bunch of questions for Anthony. And of course, as always, if you guys have any questions that you want us to get to, feel free either to drop them in the chat or you can drop them in the Ask a Question little tab that you see on the bottom. And we will do our best to get to all of them. Okay. All right. So why don't we start? Anthony, why don't you just tell us a little bit first about your background and what exactly Simpl does.
Yeah, so as mentioned, my background was primarily me as a musician before I became music marketing Anthony, as I am known today. Um, I pretty much started like every other musician out there, right? Playing in bands and playing local shows around my town. But I kind of felt like we were not growing as quickly as I wished we were. And we were kind of in like this endless cycle of like, okay, every weekend we're playing, in front of the same crowd, in front of the same people. And it's not really translating to like streaming numbers on Spotify or positive engagement on social media. So I kind of fell into the rabbit hole. I actually got scammed. It was like a drop shipping course, like how to make money quick online.
Oh
And I was
no.
like, yeah, I was naive when I was younger, but
Happened
um,
happened to the best of us. I've been there as well.
yeah, it's those things are crazy. But it was a blessing in disguise because like it opened my eyes to like the power behind social media if used properly. And to me, I was like, well, if it works for, clothing brands and whatnot, why could this not work for music? So I did more research on how paid social media channels, such as like Instagram ads, Facebook ads, YouTube, and everything else that's like on social platforms that have ads work. Um, that's kind of to where it opened my eyes to the power behind it. And long story short, I use those tactics that I kind of learned and fell in love with, like the marketing process. I also come from a sales background, so it kind of felt the same to me, to where it's like, you don't just like I used to work at Best Buy, for example. I wouldn't just walk up to someone and be like, "Hey, do you want to buy this computer?" It's
Right.
more so of like, "Hey, like, how are you doing? Like, I'm so and so. Who are you? What brings you in?" And the way we were trained was to ask to discover, right? Like seek to discover like what the issue is and how you can resolve it.
Mhm.
And most of the time, with us as musicians trying to connect with their fans, the issues that they're having have to do with like real life stuff. Like they're going through something, um, in their personal life that has to do with mental health or a breakup or whatever. Usually lyrics fall along the lines of those different subject matters, and bringing those to light are how you actually like sell people on yourself as an artist. So more on that stuff later, but that's kind of how I got into the marketing world, with using my band at the time as like the guinea pig for, you know well, at the time, like that's what I wanted to do with my life, just be a rock star and tour the world. But um, we charted Billboard. We made a good chunk of money back from our initial investments, which was great. And we were about ready to start touring nonstop. But then in my mind, I was like, yeah, like every time we had to go out of town, I didn't like it, so I don't want to hold the guys back. So I stepped down from that. And around that time too, I actually started working at a marketing firm local in town. So I was doing marketing for like construction businesses and wineries and stuff. So a lot of the stuff I was doing for my music was applied to like real businesses. And then a couple months shortly after that, like this friend that I had was like, "Hey, like, can you help my band to grow the same way you helped your band grow?" And I helped them, and then word got around that I was helping other artists, and then I was like, okay, like this is kind of cool. You can make money from like helping out other artists. Like I didn't know that was a thing. So um,
You
yeah,
can make money helping other artists and make money with your music. Um,
yeah,
what a concept.
right. Who would have thought?
Who
So
would've thought?
yeah, this was around the end of 2019 when I started helping more artists. And then the pandemic hit, and that's where everyone was like, what do we do? Like we can't play shows, we can't tour. Like I guess we got to pay attention to the social media thing. So that really helped kind of the business take off to where it is now, to where we have the opportunity to work with artists signed to Universal Music Group, Warner Music Group, and AWOL, who is now owned by Sony Music, for example. So we're in a cool spot to where we're not too big of a company to where we can't work with like an indie artist, and we can't not work with like a major label artist, So
So what exactly, tell me what exactly does Simpl do? What are the services that you offer for either the independent musician or a signed musician?
yeah, the short and sweet version is we offer paid and organic social media services. And that's super broad because there are so many things that fall under that just blanket term, right? So, for example, if an artist doesn't know what to post on TikTok for the next 60 days, we actually set up like weekly brainstorming sessions with them to kind of figure out what they're all about, learn more about their brand or if they even have one, and kind of figure out how to express that through their content on TikTok. Because I think that's the hardest part, like knowing what to post, and getting over that fear of like putting yourself out there.
Mhm.
And this is harsh, but I always tell people like you can post on TikTok today and probably 10 people will see it. Like if you embarrass yourself, those are 10 people you didn't even know in real life. Like that's fine. Like no one follows you on there anyway. So like you have nothing to lose. That's the same approach I took with my TikTok at the top of 2020. Um, and I was just talking about marketing stuff. Well, at first I was making jokes about musicians, and those started picking up. And I was like, well, maybe instead of making fun of musicians and myself, maybe I should do something like useful, like help people. So I shifted the narrative, and it came off really well to people. And 30,000 plus followers later, like it's worked for me. And again, it was just a matter of like getting over that fear of like my in real life friends seeing my content and stuff. Like you can disable, you know, people
Right.
finding you through your phone number through your settings. It's not hard, but yeah.
I just dropped Anthony's TikTok profile there in the chat. So if you guys aren't following him, definitely check that out. He really offers a lot of great tips. Okay, so why don't we just I've got a bunch of questions, and I think we are eager to hear some of your genius. So let me start with a question. What does an artist need to get started with digital marketing? Like what's the starting point?
Yeah, the starting point is really setting up realistic goals, right? So like if you're starting from scratch, like you just made a TikTok or you just made an Instagram, um, it's great to say that you want to reach like a million, listeners or a million followers. Like that's amazing. You should strive for that. But I always like, you know, taking a step back and saying, okay, like what steps you need to take to accomplish, the final goal, right? I refer to them as like sub goals.
Okay.
So, for example, like if you were to sit down and say, "Hey, I want to get to 100 followers in 1 month," that seems a lot less pressuring and a lot more realistic than saying, "I want to hit a million, followers in like 6 months or something," which that could very well happen. Like the TikTok is like the Wild West. Like
Right.
you can post something today and it could blow up or it could not. But I think setting up realistic goals is probably like the most important thing. And then
So
also
with that,
understanding. Oh, go ahead.
no, you go. I'm sorry. Also understanding.
No, I was just going to say understanding the platform you actually want to post on, because I get a lot of emails or a lot of comments from people saying like, or even text messages like, "Hey, like I want to start posting on TikTok, but I don't know what to post." And I always ask them like, "Well, do you use TikTok as like a consumer, like as a user of the platform?" And they're always like, "No, I don't like TikTok. Like it's not my thing." And I'm like, "Well, then why do you want to post on it if you don't like it? Like that doesn't make any sense." For one, you're not gonna understand the culture on there because it's definitely different. Like TikTok versus Twitter versus Instagram, like the lingo and just the vibes on there are just completely different um, across each platform. So I always encourage people to like
Get to know.
actually get to know what it is that you're trying to be active on, because it doesn't make sense for you to try to be active on something you don't use personally. It's like a bad example because I do this all the time. It's like buying things you don't really need, but you just buy it because it's on sale. Like it's a waste of money. Um, but I
Out of
do that.
curiosity, how many people in here are already using TikTok? Drop a little comment in the chat. I will. That's really. I mean, that's a really good point. I certainly tell a lot of artists that they probably should be on TikTok. And you're right. I mean, I'm guilty of that also. TikTok is still pretty new to me. I've definitely gotten in there, spent some time using it. I've heard a little bit about like curating your you have to curate your TikTok feed.
Like
Right. Can you tell us a little
you
bit about that?
like curating as in like niching down on a specific like subject.
Yeah, exactly. Like how do you kind of help since TikTok is more about that kind of follow the for you page, right? Where they're just TikTok is
Mhm.
suggesting content at you. How do you make sure that that content is stuff that you want to see and stuff that's relevant for you?
It's tough to say because like I think it really just you just have to use the platform and slowly but surely like you as a user of it, like it kind of fits you in a persona. Like when I first started using TikTok, it was just the most viral videos you could ever think of.
Mhm.
But then it slowly started shifting to just cat videos, and I happen to have a cat, so that made sense to me. Um, and then, every time like a musician would come up, I started interacting with it more. And then slowly but surely, like my TikTok for you page is just comprised of like cat videos and music industry people sharing tips now, and indie artists like going viral. So it kind of fit me as like a cat loving music industry person. So here are all the videos. Um, and then as like a creator, it people always say like hashtags are super important. They are in like the beginning to kind of like I guess like shift your profile into like the right direction, but I think it's like weird using hashtags like indie artist because for example like if I was like a fan of like music, like how likely is it that I'm gonna go and search for an indie artist, for example? Like I'm not gonna type that hashtag in physically. It might pop up on my for you page because maybe I've like interacted with indie artists historically, but um, that doesn't necessarily mean that that hashtag is for me as a music fan. So using
So
hashtags in the beginning is important to kind of steer the algorithm in the right way, but after you reach like a certain point, I don't think they hold as much weight because TikTok already has like a good idea of who your ideal audience is to serve your content to, if that makes sense.
yeah, sure. So, I mean, that's actually, I mean, that's great advice, honestly, for all platforms. Also, you have to actually get in there, use it, be active, and put in the effort, right, to learn how do you use this.
Yeah.
All right, so let maybe, I'm always curious because I'm sure also working in music marketing, there's a lot of opinions on whether to use paid advertising, or rather, yeah, paid advertising or not. Some people are all for it, some people are against it. Personally, I think I think you can really go either way, and maybe some instances, each artist is different and each marketing strategy is different. But we definitely encourage paid advertising and running ads. So I guess maybe can you help us understand what are some of the advantages or disadvantages of using paid advertising? Why would you use it or not?
Yeah, I think it falls back to like understanding like what you're trying to get out of it and setting a realistic expectation. Like I always like to clarify that because I mean I've probably been guilty of it too. Like posting videos on TikTok to where it's like, look at this Spotify for Artists spike. This was just from ads. It's easy. $5 a day. But the reality of that is that like for one, it's easy for me, right? Because I understand the ads platforms. You probably do not. And the reason we refer to it as easy is because once you put in the work and understand how these ad platforms work, then yeah, sure, it's easy. it's also accessible, right? Like you don't have to pay for a course to learn how to use Facebook's ads platform. They have their Facebook Blueprint program, which is like this super in-depth course. But
Right.
again, it's insane. Like it really gives you the nitty-gritty. But again, like a music specific course might be better because like that's all they talk about. Whereas the Facebook specific one, it talks about like running a business and you being a national marketing professional. So it's accessible is all I'm trying to get at. But like um, the advantages to running ads is you are placed in front of a lot of people for X amount of dollars a lot quicker than you posting, X amount of videos to reach X amount of people, which generally does take longer, right? Like if you pay, like, let's say $50 for the sake of math, and you get 1,000 views, that you can spend the $50 within like an hour. Whereas if you wanted to do the same through organic, it might take you like 6 hours of, you investing your time creating content, et cetera, et cetera. So it's kind of like what to you seems like the best bang for your buck. And I always get asked like which one is better, or which one is worse, like or which one is like the one to choose. And it really just depends on your situation, right? Like if you're not in a position to invest, money, like because it's real money into Facebook ads, then you probably shouldn't, like if you have to choose between paying rent or, putting money into savings versus, investing in that, then yeah, like just save your money. There's other ways to market your music.
What kind
Um,
of budget would you recommend maybe for, let's say, an emerging artist who has maybe 1,000 followers across social media and is putting out a series of singles? So, what would you recommend per single or per month, or what kind of money are we talking to really make a dent here?
Yeah, to really make like a dent or an impact, like for example, like us at Simple as an agency, like we require a minimum of $750 in ad spend month to month to work with an artist.
Okay.
And that's because when it comes to ads, like there are so many tests you have to go through. And one of the disadvantages to advertising is that like you can't just use one 15-second clip, spend like $50 and expect it to take off. That's actually how and why most people get discouraged from advertising, because they like boost a post, right? Like one post, or they only try one piece of content and the cost per click is like $1, and they're like, hey, this is stupid expensive. Like, why would I spend $1 for a click? Like I don't like this. But in reality, the way we would have ran it is run that video in addition to 6 other videos at the same time. So then we can come back and report to you like, hey, we ran, I don't know, $10, $30 on each 6 of these videos. We're already at like $180. I can come back to you and say, hey, video 1 through 4 did terrible. Like the cost per click was like $1. Videos 5 and 6, though, they're pretty neck and neck in terms of cost. They're like 20 to 30 cents per click. Let's turn off, videos number 1 through 4 and run with videos 5 through 6. And it's not like the same video just cut up in different formats, but it's like, you know, one video is like the verse of the song, the second video is the intro of the song, the third video is the video of the artist saying like, hi, my name is, so and so, this is my song. So it's like trying out different forms of content for paid ads is kind of like the key to all of it and what really makes it work. And the reason why we say that it's easy is because if you think of it, paid advertising is just really a big game of like, or it's like a big process of elimination. So the way I start every campaign is that I write down 5 artists that I want to target. And then I have 5 videos, right? The verse, the chorus, the bridge, the intro. I put those 5 artists into 5 different campaigns. And within those campaigns, they have like those 5 different videos. And then I let the ads run at like $5 or $10 each one, for example. And
Okay.
then after like 2 or 3 days, I come back and I'm like, okay, here are my results. Which ones are my best performing ones? Which ones are my worst performing ones? Obviously, the ones that perform the worst, I turn them off, get rid of them. And the ones that perform the best, I leave them on, and then just rinse and repeat, like continue
So
adding more because you're
hold on one second, Andrea.
researching.
Let me
Yeah.
just make sure that everybody is following along. Okay, so what Anthony's talking about is when you go and invest, if you're going to invest money and run a series of ads and really start putting money into your digital marketing, part of those initial expenses is first doing a series of tests to make sure that you are using the visual content that's going to perform best. And a lot of times, the video that you think is the best isn't necessarily what's going to respond, isn't necessarily what people are going to respond to best. So that's something that's called A/B testing, right? That process of testing A against B and then so on and so forth. That's something that you would be able to help with if that's something that you guys do at Simpl, right? That you would run those series of tests for the artist.
Right. Yeah. Usually the artists that work with us have a music video. For example, let's say it's like a 2 minute music video.
Mhm.
We edit the video into like 10 plus different, 15 or 30-second clips from like the intro, the verse, the bridge, etc. And then we test those up against whatever artists we define as like what is it? Like artists that we want to test for the artists that we're working for. Sorry, like fan bases that we think would resonate with this artist's music. So that's kind of like the basic overview workflow of what we do. And again, it is just a huge process of elimination, and not everyone has the time of day, for example, to sit down and do that. So that's why they hire us, or not everyone has the knowledge and know-how of running paid campaigns. So that's again why they hire us to do it. um,
And let me
if you were an indie artist. So
a bit also. You mentioned the Facebook Blueprint course, which I've taken. I've gone through, and it's I would compare it kind of
like
to,
lengthy.
yeah, it's lengthy, and it's kind of very much to me like the Facebook Ads Manager, where like everything is there, but it's kind of hard to get through it all. So artists can either go that option, but you made a really good point that the Facebook Blueprint course is not at all music focused. But that's
Mhm.
where your course comes in, right? So you guys offer a marketing course that teaches the artist how to do exactly what you're explaining. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah, and full circle to what I said in the beginning. I got the reason I got into marketing. I got scammed from a drop shipping course. So very quickly when I got into like the music marketing space, like a lot of people were asking me for a class, and I
Mhm.
was like, no, I don't want to do that because like there's like bad karma associated with it, or like bad juju associated with like courses and marketing gurus. And I held off for as long as I could on creating one. But as quickly as our business started to pick up because of my TikTok, I just felt bad turning down artists left and right. And I felt like a course was like the best budget friendly option to still give them that experience of working directly with us. So just some context around why
Cool.
there is a course. But yeah, that course
That's
covers like
great
the
to
nitty
hear.
gritty of it.
Like I said, I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
everybody's gotten scammed. I think that's also part of what we're doing here at IndieFlow is we've sorted through the all of the many offers. You're right. There are so many digital marketing courses you can take, but Anthony's for real. And Simpl is for real. So maybe this is actually a good moment to just make a little plug for if anybody is not yet an IndieFlow member. We're partnering with Anthony and with Simpl. We're offering a really cool bundle. So what's usually a $360 IndieFlow account and what's usually a $200 marketing course from Simpl, we're bundling them. It's like a 50% discount for $297. So that's, like I said, 47%. You've got the little sign up button right below in green. So feel free to check that out. Um, Okay, Anthony, let's get into some real specifics. So, you mentioned a little bit about niching down. Okay, so can you offer some input on how does an artist find their niche and why is that important?
Yeah, finding your thing or your niche is important because kind of how we mentioned earlier, like TikTok puts their users in like a specific like umbrella. Like for me, for example, I'm a music industry person who loves cats, so that's like all the content that gets fed to me. Cats dancing, musicians, posting their song, or even just other music industry professionals like talking about the music business.
Okay.
Um, and I think it's important for musicians to be aware of who they're trying to reach. And I think that's just like a broader conversation, right? Like at the end of the day, we want to say we want everyone to love our music, or we, think that we appeal to hip hop fans, for example. Like that's super broad. Like I wouldn't even be able to tell you what hip hop is because hip hop to me is going to be something different than to you, for example.
Yeah.
So being specific on what types of artists you kind of want to associate yourself with, and I mean like by name, is important. And also the type of content you're putting out there. It's hard to niche down an artist. Like it's easy for me as like a
What
marketing creator. Like my
say
content is marketing, right?
what does niche down mean?
Yeah, so like if you're a musician posting on TikTok and one day you're posting like a how to how to make an iced coffee video, and then the next day you're posting like you know here's my you know like new song, for example. Like those are two different audiences, right? Like that's for like foodies, and then this is for like music fans. So you can mix the two, but it's just important to like have it to where you can be direct and specific on who you're trying to reach. So um, it
So
varies from artist to artist, but like a hardcore example is like I had this like hyper pop artist called Toyko, um, who their like aesthetic was very much so like video games and anime, and they wrote like hyper pop music, so all of their content had some form of anime embedded into it or some form of like video game element to it as well. So it appealed to video game fans as well as potential music fans, for example.
So would you recommend that artists like make a list of, 5 to 10 major artists that they will compare themselves to get a kind of better idea of what their niche is within their genre? So, maybe I make hip hop, but I make hip hop most, similar to Jay-Z, J.
Jeez.
Cole, etc. All good. um, to help kind of focus who their target demographic is, right? Oops. Looks like we lost him. Hold on, he's coming back. In the meantime, Daryl, I see your question. What if you're already on one or the other? Will you just clarify a bit what you meant by that? And then let me invite Anthony back up right now. How do you upload your song on TikTok and what's okay? I see everybody's questions. We're gonna get to them. Hi there.
Sorry, I had to calm my rabbit down.
No,
Um,
no worries. Okay, so maybe actually we have hold on, we do have some questions, but maybe we're gonna get into that in a second. Let me ask you, let's get real specific. What kinds of videos should artists be making? I would say probably the majority of artists that are on our platform or that are at least listening on here, definitely a lot of rappers, a lot of indie rock, lots of really singer songwriter as well, so lots of different genres. What should they be doing on TikTok?
yeah, it's kind of cheesy, but I always tell people like the best content is you, like you as a person.
Ah,
If you think about like why we look at Instagram stories or Snapchat when they were popular. I don't know if they're still, huge in this day and age. But we're really we're social beings at the end of the day, so we really gravitate towards like real and authentic people. So for example, if you're like a rapper, and you want to post content on TikTok, like go on TikTok and literally say that, hey, I'm a rapper from this, that, or the other. This is my song, so and so. Like, let me know what you think, and then just start lip syncing or performing it right then and there. That's kind of like the staple TikTok I like to refer to it as. It's more of like an introductory video, or even doing to where you say, hey, I was really sad, a long time ago, but now I'm happy, so I wrote a song about it. So it's just like a blanket statement about what the song is about, and then practically breaking into song like as if you're in a musical. I know it sounds kind of lame and cheesy, but it works. Like, I'm sure every viral video you've seen from an artist, it's along those lines. Like they're either in their car singing, or they're in their room, and the text says like, this is me showing my dad the song for the first time or whatever. So it's like really basic forms of content that just work on the platform. And although it may seem inauthentic to you, like to the music fan, like that's the most grounded musicians have ever been to them. Because if you think about like the Drakes of the world and things like that, like they put them on this like pedestal or on this stage. Whereas, if you are gonna be the next Drake, like getting to kind of know you on that personal level, or knowing that if they comment on your video, you'll respond, like that just goes a lot further than, just posting a snippet of your music video, or posting your artwork and calling it a day. So
So
grounded content
sharing a
is kind
little
of what
bit
I lean towards.
and sharing a little bit more, it's actually really funny if you do go through TikTok and you start using it and familiarizing yourself. You're absolutely right. You'll see the same kind of videos, right? The one in the car always cracks me up because it's just you sitting in the car being like, I wrote in a song. What do you think about it? And I don't know why it works so well. But maybe what you're hinting on also is do some research, right? Approach this seriously. Sit down, take some time to kind of go through and see what are some reoccurring themes. What are kinds of videos that, you keep seeing over and over and over again. Try making them yourself. Your first one, much to your point earlier, Anthony, might not be great. You might feel like you're embarrassing yourself, but it doesn't matter. Push yourself. And I think that the idea is to eventually, kind of take the trend of what people are doing and put your own little take on it. And I think the best way you'll probably figure out how to do that is just by starting. Just do it and see what comes out, right?
Yeah, you'll never know until you try. And I mean, I always use myself as an example of that. Like, I never envisioned myself posting on TikTok, let alone talking about music marketing on there. But like, I'm pretty sure if I had not done that, then Simpl would not be where it is to date.
Right.
And a lot of musicians would tell you the same thing too. They always say, "Oh, I wish I had started posting a lot more earlier," or I wish, I posted more earlier on so I could really find my brand a lot quicker. So that I feel like musicians spend a lot of time overthinking and planning versus actually doing. So my advice to like, everyone who's on here is to actually, just go on TikTok today if you can. Go through the FYP, see if you stumble across a musician and use those as like reference videos. So I would do that, and then maybe try to post at least one tomorrow.
That's a great idea. Can everybody in here following along? Can you guys commit to making a post, a TikTok video tomorrow? Actually, even better than that, why don't you guys drop in your TikTok profiles, throw in your links here, and we can all follow each other. That would be a nice little push. Okay, Anthony, you mentioned planning. What are your best practices, or what can you recommend for the artists in terms of planning, creating, and posting on TikTok? How often should they be doing it? Do they need to plan them ahead? What do you recommend?
That's a tough one because like I always tell people like to kind of work within their limit because they know themselves better than anyone else. So I mean, at the end of the day, like every other influencer or marketing person would tell you to start posting like 5+ times a day to get like the most return. But if you're just starting out on TikTok, like if you start posting 5 times a day today, for one, that's really hard. You won't know what to post. And two, you're going to get burnt out very quickly.
Mm.
And I'm another prime example of that. So do as I say, not as I do. But yeah, because like I was posting 5 to 7+ times a day when I first started, and I grew really quickly. But then me as a person and as a creator, I just started to get very burnt out, and life started to get busy. So if you look, I think my last post was like from January. So like I've really not been posting as much on TikTok as I should
You
be.
also just had a baby, so we forgive
Yeah,
you. That's very understandable. But I mean,
yeah.
I think you're really onto. I mean, don't set yourself up for failure, right? So if you're not a super, social media person, I agree, you're not going to do it 5 times a day. And if you tell yourself you're going to, you're pretty likely to not be able to keep up with it. But I think that most of the artists here can commit to, for example, posting a video tomorrow or even today. Why wait till tomorrow? And maybe, maybe in the interest of just kind of getting the ball rolling for a lot of the artists here who are new on TikTok, maybe you can, commit to posting once a day because you're still kind of testing things out. You're still getting a feel for it. So even if you post a video and then, delete it tomorrow, I think it would be good to kind of start getting into that habit, right? So, here's a good question as far as TikTok specifically. What role do you think TikTok should play in a release plan?
As far as release planning goes, like I think TikTok should be kind of like at every phase, right? Pre-release, the actual release, and post-release.
Mhm.
I feel like a lot of artists, the way they approach TikTok is they post a lot leading up to the release, like to get pre-saves. Like that's like a really big thing right now.
Mhm.
Um, but I mean, pre-saves like that's a whole other conversation. But like putting in a lot of effort pre-release as opposed to not putting as much effort once the song is here, I feel is like a waste. And every artist goes through this, right? Like they're super excited leading up to the release. It's new, it's fresh, and they're posting like every day, like, "Hey, I can't wait for this to come out." And then it comes out, and it's like, "All right, guys, like it's out. Like now what?" So the same amount of energy and effort you put into your pre-release strategy, I think, should go into in the weeds of it, like when it actually comes out, and even after the fact. Like it might seem redundant to you and old news to you, but I guarantee you, if you look at your analytics, most of the people watching your TikTok videos don't even follow you. So
Thing. So
that's kind of an opportunity for you to continue posting about your recently released music.
that's a great idea. Absolutely. And that applies honestly to all social platforms. But I see your question and great question. What about how does an artist use their song in their TikTok video? Should they be, well, that's, yeah. How do they use it? Do they use it as a sound? Do they have it playing in the background? What do you recommend?
I don't think there's a specific way to do it. Like I've seen it done multiple different ways, but probably the most popular is what you said. Like they have like a speaker there, or they play it off of their phone and they lip sync over it or something. Or if you're good at video editing, you edit it outside of TikTok and then just upload it and add the sound later. But I don't think there's a set way on how to use the sound like from a technical standpoint. But from like a content standpoint, same thing. Like if you're gonna post like a montage of like your day, You can put like the sound behind it, but make sure that like the text you put on the montage has to do with you being an artist. Like, for example, you can post that, but then also like on the text overlay, be like, I'm an indie artist from New York City. Like, this is my song, so and so. I wrote it when I was feeling happy or whatever. That's much more entertaining than just having a montage or a collage of your day with no text or context and just your song playing. Like, that to me is boring.
So they should add text to their videos as well as use their song in their videos.
Right. I think that's the most like that takes the least amount of effort and usually yields the highest return. If you think about some of like the most popular TikTok videos, like most of them like took little to no effort. Like it's literally someone whipping out their phone and saying something stupid or reacting to a video. I want to say there was I forgot what the video was, but it was like a big TikTok creators video. They said something about like, have you ever felt like this or whatever? And an artist reacted, like duetted it and said, no, but check out my new song. And then they just hit play on their keyboard and it just started dancing around crazy in their room and that blew up. Like that took them like what, 5 minutes to do. And it yielded them over 1 million views and tons of streams. Like you just really have to, again, sure, plan and brainstorm, but don't get too caught up in the process to
I,
where you don't actually do it, you know?
I think also, yeah, what it sounds like you're saying is just start making the videos. Just go, just try it, get yourself used to it. And yeah, you'd be surprised. Maybe something that you put no effort into and could go viral. Butta is asking about with the new distributors involved with TikTok, Sound On. Do you know about that?
No, I'm not familiar with that.
On TikTok. I'm actually not familiar with that also. Maybe we can if you want to add a few more thoughts in there, but we'll get to you. Okay, so let's see, what else can I ask? I've got, by the way, if you guys listening and have questions, definitely drop them in. Let me ask you a question, Anthony, on your if you want to grow more organically, right? So it's one thing, yes, of course, to paid ads, but if you want to grow more organically, what type of content and how often should you post? Daryl would like to.
Yeah, kind of how we said it earlier. I think like starting off with one post like every other day and then increasing that to one post daily on like whatever platform you know best. I'm not going to tell you to just post on TikTok if you don't use TikTok, for example, but wherever you know or wherever you are most comfortable posting on, whether it be Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, etc. Getting into the habit of posting frequently is probably key to it all, especially on like platforms that are particular or prefer volume, right? Like TikTok puts out a ton of content daily, and they usually reward you in terms of like the algorithm if you post a lot. So just getting into the habit of posting frequently. It also increases the like likelihood of you actually getting a video to take off. And it's similar to like exercising or working out, right? Like if you want to get to post, 5 times per day, you have to start off slow. Same thing, like if you're gonna try to work out and lift a bunch of weights, like you're not going to do that day one. You kind of have to ease into it,
Okay. And what about, here's a good question for you. Is TikTok for everybody? All genres and ages? We've got quite a range here. One person I'm thinking of, for example, Andrew Lindsay Cohen, who's here, who makes not hip hop and not indie rock, more, how would you describe your music, Andrew? More electronic, kind of avant-garde, if you will. But yeah, should everybody be on TikTok, or is it more for certain genres?
I want to say it's definitely not for everybody because, again, it falls on the creator as to whether they're comfortable posting or not.
Mhm.
But I want to say there's an audience for everyone on the platform. So like whether you make heavy metal or hip hop or uh, I don't know, oddball genres like death metal or whatever, I think you'll still be able to find um, you know your audience on there. It's just a matter of like, do you feel comfortable posting on there or not? And not everyone does. For example, like there's like really talented musicians that just they're just camera shy, or they have really bad anxiety once they start posting or once they start getting attention, so it just doesn't work for them. And I mean, it's not like you can force them to, so I mean, that's just how it is. TikTok is not the end all be all. It's like the thing right now that yields the highest return for the lowest, like, I don't want to say effort, because it does take a lot of effort, but like if you post the same video on TikTok versus Instagram, I guarantee you TikTok will get you more views and engagement than Instagram, for example.
Definitely. So what maybe, yeah, first of all, you're absolutely right. And you can even try just for you guys to prove that point, post the same video on TikTok and Instagram, see how that goes for you. What would you say, any strategies to work with the TikTok algorithm or to make the algorithm work for you?
Don't use the hashtag FYP just because that's super broad. I always recommend using hashtags that are relevant to the content piece that you're putting out. So, for example, if you're posting about your latest song that talks about depression or talks about, mental health, like use hashtags that correlate with like the subject matter from the song, for example. On the flip side, if it's an instrumental track, use hashtags that have to do with like Ableton Studio Live or FL Studio, for example, just because, most people who know what those things are will be open to listening to instrumental tracks. But kind of, again, using the tools available to you, such as like hashtags and whatnot, to kind of prime the algorithm into the right direction is probably the best route to find the right people. And then to, branch out and reach even more people, you just have to continue posting more. Another important metric is like your watch time, and it's an important metric to like the algorithm, but also to like you as a creator. For example, let's say you post like 10 videos and then you go back and look at your TikTok analytics in the app. It tells you like, let's say they're all 10-second long videos, and for some of them they're only watched 6 seconds of the way through, and only some they only watch 2 seconds. Like the ones, again, it's like that whole process of elimination thing. Like the bottom performing ones, you probably shouldn't post content like that again. Post content that had the higher watch time, for example.
Okay. So go back to those analytics. And I mean, honestly, what might be, maybe we should do a kind of accountability for system in the month of April, to get people posting and just putting in the work to post every day, try out different posts, and then at the end of the month, kind of review those analytics and see, hey, what worked best, and keep doing more of the ones that work best, right? Sounds almost too simple. I think it's more just a matter of finding the time and putting in the work, right?
Right. That's the hardest part, I think, for most. Like they understand it, they know what they need to post and whatnot, but actually sitting down and doing the research and doing all that is what I've found to be the reason why, artists don't do what they want to do, for example. So
right. Yeah. You're right. You're kind of your own worst enemy in that sense, right?
yeah.
Quick question, from Alex. Will I get banned for cursing or having sexually explicit lyrics on TikTok?
I don't think you'll get banned, but
I don't
probably
think.
proceed with caution, like if just depending on how explicit it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you should be fine. Just don't use anything that's like racist or homophobic at all, because you will get shunned for those two things. And shouldn't do that anyway.
I would honestly
Um,
not curse, as you're just going to limit your audience there. So I would stay away from that. Right? Yes, agreed. Okay, we've got a few minutes left. Anthony, tell us. We obviously focus this conversation about TikTok, but tell us a little bit about your course, which really covers more Facebook and Instagram ads, right? Tell us a little bit about your course and why it would be helpful for artists.
Yeah, so the course would be helpful to the artist that's looking to run paid campaigns, right? Like on Facebook and Instagram. And whether you have the know-how on how to do it or whether you don't, you'll still find value from it just because we kind of cover the basics, we cover the advanced techniques, we cover the different types of campaigns you can run, right? Like let's say you just want a bunch of views or a bunch of comments on like a Facebook or Instagram video, we show you how to get that. If you want actual streams on Spotify, we show you how to get that as well through the ads and how to measure how many people actually go from your ad to, you know, the Spotify streaming platform. Like the
Mhm.
we teach you how to do that too. So um, anything in the paid realm, it's a great course to, you know, kind of take a dive into. Um, whether you're going to do it yourself or whether you end up hiring a company later down the road, I think it's just nice knowing the process because then if they're, you know, BSing you, you can kind of call them out on it for sure. But yeah, I think it's a great value add and something that I'm proud that we have to offer for artists that are not able to work with us directly. They still have a way to work with us over the shoulder kind of on some example campaigns that we run through there. We run campaigns on Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat on the videos. So
Okay.
yeah.
Well, something that I certainly tell artists all the time: invest in your education. And as you guys are building your music businesses, exactly to your point, Anthony, you don't need to be an expert on everything, but as the owner of your business, you want to learn all the different moving parts, even if that's not going to be where you excel. So having a solid understanding of how to run ads on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, really important. I would argue, you know, 100, what is it? It's $150, 199 for his course, 150 in our bundle is a very small investment to learn how to do an extremely important part of your marketing. Okay, so I'm gonna just throw that out there. Last time, you guys can hit that little button if you want to check out the bundle and learn more about Anthony's course. Any last questions before we sign off? Oh, this is actually a great one, JB. Would you recommend teaming up with people you know to post TikToks using your music? Maybe people who are more familiar with TikTok, who have more of a following. Is collaboration in that sense recommended?
Sorry. So like posting or asking other people to post your sound or um I think it's better if it like comes off organic. Like if it's just your friend that like has no idea what you do and they're just looking to support you. I mean, you know, don't discourage them, but they could end up hurting you more so than helping you. Because like
Hmm.
let's say, you know, they want to support you, but like they're actually country music fans. And they post it and you know 20 other country music fans happen to find it. They're gonna look at the content and be like, okay, what is this? Like I don't like this, and then scroll away from it. And
Wow.
what happens there is that the TikTok algorithm says, okay, this isn't good content because people keep leaving it, for example. So I would just tread lightly with that and just, it's always best to have it be relevant people more so than just people looking to support you, for example.
Got it. Wow, that's interesting. That's not what I thought you would say, but very good point. It's kind of similar to, you know, getting playlisted, you know, paying to be put on a playlist that has nothing to do with your music. And when people skip your song, that actually works negatively for you on Spotify, for example. So, okay, that's similar. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, maybe before we sign off, if nobody else has any other questions, um, last, what would you say? Maybe like what should somebody next steps for the independent artist is to just get in there and start making content.
Yeah. Next steps is to start making content and check out the IndieFlow and Simpl bundle, and you'll be set.
Awesome. All right, cool. Well, if nobody else has any questions, guys, thank you so much for sitting in. Anthony, always a pleasure. I hope everyone's following him on TikTok. I see everybody's links in here. I'm going to go and follow everybody as well. I want to see those TikToks. So if you guys are an IndieFlow member, drop your TikToks in our Discord so we can all see and follow along. And I'll be sending an email to everybody who's here with more info on the course. And Monty and Daryl, I'm going to send you guys an email about your questions. Okay. Thank you so much, Anthony. And we'll talk soon. See you on TikTok.
Talk soon. Thank you guys.
Bye.
Bye.